If you've been thinking about a career pivot, but you're not sure where to even start, I have some news for you. You're in the right place. Because the truth is, it's not as simple as updating your resume or applying to a random job that you see online or sending out hundreds of applications to see what sticks. And yet every day I meet powerhouse professionals with 10, 15, 20 years or even more who are stuck. These things happen. It's part of growing and learning and having a career. And my clients, they've outgrown their roles. They're craving something more, but they're overwhelmed by what's next. And so in this video, I'm going to break down exactly where to begin if you're really serious about making a move that aligns with your values, your lifestyle, and most importantly, your worth. I'm also going to show you how my book and my career shakeup program can help you to stop spinning your wheels and start taking action today. All right, let's dive in. So the first thing that I ask every client is, why do you want to pivot? Because if you don't know the why, you're going to get swayed by everyone else's idea of success. All of the information that's online, reading and getting internet scrolling fatigue, right? Because you just don't know what really is it that applies to you specifically. Because let's face it, all had a different background, different education. We live in different geographic locations. So all of this really does play a factor into what's going to make the next step for you. But when you ask yourself the why, it's going to allow you to expand what it is that you're actually looking for in today's current job search. For example, let me give you an idea of a client, a single mom, had a young child, and she was telling me how important it was for her to be more present, more available. Her current work situation was toxic. Now, this was a high-level professional, she had a master's degree, she was a director, and she needed something that aligned with her lifestyle. And it's very common for people when you have major things that happen in your life to want to do something new. This could be getting married. I work with men and women, so it's not just moms and women that I work with, but for men too. They could get married, or you have to get closer to take care of your parents, or you have a child. There's so many things that happen where the career that you have may no longer be a good fit for you. But you have to ask yourself the question, is it the career? Is it the position? Is it the company? Breaking all of these little pieces down will help you to make the next best step, because the last thing that you want to do is to land into another position and only a few months into it, you find out it's not a good fit, and then you have to be in a job search all over again. Or you take a risk, or you take a title cut or a pay cut. These are things that happen, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But going back to my client, she wanted flexibility. She wanted to be more present. She wanted to be there, for all her child's important events. She didn't want to have this grueling job where there was just no work-life balance, because she did that when she didn't have kids, but it just wasn't working for her anymore. And then 5 minutes later, she tells me that her friend who works in management consultant, who doesn't have kids, who has a totally different lifestyle, makes a ton of money. And making a lot of money was important for her as well. And she's thinking, oh, my friend makes a lot of money in management consultant. Maybe I can do that as well. I had to stop her right there. I said, hold on, you could still make a lot of money, but if you make a lot of money in management consulting, 80% of that job is travel. That's the complete opposite of what you just said that you wanted. And this happens often. We don't slow down long enough to ask ourselves the right questions. We listen to a neighbor, a friend, a family member who's successful in their own path and think that maybe it could work for us. But then what if it doesn't? This pivot is not supposed to be about somebody else's version of success. It has to be about what you actually want, okay? And how do you get to that step is that you need to know yourself better than your resume done. And so something that makes me cringe is when someone says, just look at my resume. Here's what I've done. What do you think I can do? No. Your resume is just a highlight reel. It doesn't speak to your goals. It doesn't tell me where you want to live, how much you want to earn, what kind of leader you want to be. Just because you've done things in the past, that doesn't mean that's where you want to be now, right? Your resume always has to speak to where you want to go, not where you've been. And when you're making a pivot, this is crucial, because they need to understand how you would be an asset for their organization and what are those transferable skills that you have in order to succeed in that specific role. So if you've been struggling with this a bit, Inside Career Shakeup is a book that I wrote. It's all of my 20 years of corporate experience as a job seeker, as a recruiter, as a hiring manager, all of it. So here's my book. You can actually get my book if you haven't already. It's going to be listed in the description. You can get it directly through my funnel. It even is on Amazon, but I'll talk about the difference of where to get it and why it's important for you to know the difference, right? I'll talk about that later. But what I will want to say is that in Career Shakeup, I walk you through these exact questions. You get worksheets to help you explore the industries, the company types, the work environments that actually align with who you are and where you want to go next. Because all of that plays a factor. It's not just what's on your resume, right? We have to also consider, what are your non-negotiables? What type of environment do you thrive in? Under what type of leadership do you thrive in? All of this deep dive, thinking this through, will ensure that you make a step into a new role that's not going to be a step back, and that it also could be something that you're in for the long term. Because I've seen it. I speak with so many people and they tell me, you know what, I just took this job because I really needed it, and now I'm 5 months in or a year in and it's awful. I hate it. I don't like it. It's not even what I want to do. I want to go back to doing what I was doing before, right? You don't want to be in that situation, and it could be avoided. It absolutely could be, because then you don't want to also be in a position now you have role on your resume that shows you took a step back or your responsibilities got lessened than what you're really capable of, right? So there's a lot of things that go into play, and that's why just because it worked for somebody else doesn't mean it will work for you. So if you haven't gotten a copy of my book, I definitely suggest that you pick it up, because there's special bonuses that come inside the book to help you get thinking about where you want to go and why that is, right? Because clarity has to come before the job search. Otherwise, you're just applying in circles, and that's not going to get you anywhere. And, I speak with clients when they come to us and they think, well, I want to make a move. I just need to focus on my resume. And then as I dive deeper with them, I find out they don't even know what they want to do. They want to apply to every industry. And let's face it, you can be in specific titles. It does not transfer to every single industry. Like, I've had salespeople say, well, I could sell in any industry, but it's not really the case. I mean, there's certain industries that are regulated. And if you don't understand that, you're not going to do well in that environment. If you're dealing with an industry that maybe is manufacturing, it's different than if you're like in fashion or cosmetics or something like that. It is different. While you can work and you feel like you have that thrive, if your resume and your presentation in an interview is not showing those transferable skills, you're going to get lowball offers, or you're not going to get to the final round. I've been doing this for so long. This is what I see all the time. And when I dive deeper to understand what their job search strategy is, it's clear that they're just open to anything and everything. And I'm sorry, that strategy just doesn't work today. So what I do when I help my clients to identify your transferable skills and what makes you unique, and this is something too I want you to think about, right? You should be thinking about all of this watching this video. It's not just about getting that next role and making that pivot. I do not believe in pay cuts. I'll say that again. I do not believe in pay cuts. You've worked hard. You've built a reputation. You have transferable skills that can open doors in new industries or functions without starting over. And I even have one of my clients that she said that was something that stuck with her when she sat with us to consider joining us. And she did join and she made the pivot. But your 20 years or 15 years or 10 years of experience doesn't get erased because you want to make a change. And you may not necessarily need to go to school or get more and more certifications to make that pivot either. I have those calls too with other clients that, well, I'm going to reach back out to you after I finish this certification or after I get my degree. What? You have 15, 20 years of experience. You can make that pivot now. Chances are you don't even need that degree or certification, right? So where do you want to be? Do you want to spend all the money getting all these certifications and degrees that you may not even need? Or would you rather just be in that new role, in that new environment, get the exposure first before you invest? Now, what if, let's say, for example, you want to go into cybersecurity. That's the big thing now. Everybody wants to be in cybersecurity. In another year or two, that market is going to be so saturated, it's going to be so hard to even get a job or position yourself, right? But people think that if they want to go in cybersecurity, they have to get the cybersecurity certifications. And that's not necessarily the case. So do you want to spend all that money, or would you rather get in that industry and that field first, test it out, see if you like the environment, the culture, the pace of it? Is it for you? And if it is, then go all in. Then get the training and the certifications and do all that. You know, it's actually what I did when I started this company. I mean, I didn't start out, I never said I wanted to start a resume writing company or career coaching. I kind of just got pulled into it, and I got pulled in. I gave it a shot. Then when I saw like, wow, this is something I really like, I want to help more people. I want to help them get resumes that get through the applicant tracking systems. And when I saw that I was so passionate, I couldn't wait to do it, and talking to the clients and hearing where they're at and wanting to help them make changes, not just in their career, but for their family and their lifestyle. And I've worked with over 2,000 professionals at this point. And that drive, then I said, I want to learn more, because I know that I don't know everything. And I know that my education is unlimited. Like, I'm a big learner. I'm always learning. I'm always looking for the next best thing. And once I knew that I wanted to do more of it, then I got the certifications. Then I went all in to learn everything, and I got all the certifications under the moon, but I tried it out first. So wouldn't you rather be in that situation? Now, I've also seen working with clients that they were able to follow my lead and go the route that we set up for them. And rather than spending their own money, now the companies that they went into were actually paying for them to get the certification. So the point is that there's a lot of options that you want to consider before you take that jump. And this is where I can help you, right? So in my book and in my program, we actually dive into what makes you unique, what strengths you bring that others in the market don't have. Maybe it's the way that you lead. Maybe it's the industries that you've worked in. Maybe it's your ability to clean up the chaos and lead, high stake projects. But whatever it is, that uniqueness is your leverage, and I help you use it. Okay. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Bonnie Negron, owner of Bonnie Career Services and the Career Shakeup community. I'm a corporate HR vet turned career strategist, and I've helped over 2,000 high achieving professionals reposition themselves into better roles with higher salaries and more freedom. And honestly, I created Career Shakeup because I wish I had this kind of support when I was figuring it all out. And so this book is your starting point. It's your roadmap, and it's already helped so many people make career moves without second guessing themselves or taking a hit to their income. So if you haven't picked up a copy yet, pause the video. You can grab, I have a link where you can get it from us directly. When you do get it from us directly, you'll also get access to other resources that you can't find anywhere else, like our ChatGPT, like best prompts for helping you through interviews and resume writing and LinkedIn. It's amazing. It's like almost 200 pages worth of the best prompts you can ever need, like having a career coach in your pocket. That's exactly what this book is too. Okay. So even if you're not ready to work with us and you want to kind of test it out and see what you can manage on your own, very well do so. Because I've had people that told me they picked up the book and they were able to make pivots in their career just by the book and the resources that come with it. But you can also grab it on Amazon. The only difference, not only is it $5 more on Amazon, but you don't get access to those other upgrades that you get if you get it directly to us. So just that's the difference between getting it through us and getting it on Amazon. And I promise that you will thank yourself later. If you've also got my book and you're one of those who's told me, it changed your life and you wanted to learn more and you've been thinking about making a move, definitely leave me a review. That always helps to inspire others. So I want to move forward and kind of say this really from my heart. I really am so passionate what we do. We're going on 8 years this year, and it's just, many times I wanted to quit because the part of like owning your own business, but the work that I get to do and the clients that I get to work with and the lives that I get to change is something that I just can't explain it. It's just so amazing. What I want to say for those who are considering to make a move, please stop listening to your friends, your family, and your neighbor down the street when it comes to your career. I know they probably mean very well, but unless they know your full story, your goals, your lifestyles, your financial needs, your education, how many years of experience, the industries that you work in, your transferable skills, I'm sorry, they just can't give you the right advice. And this applies on LinkedIn too. You know, just because someone on social media made a pivot into tech or quit their job to go remote doesn't mean it's the move you should make. This is your life, your energy, your time. It's okay to want a role that pays you more and supports your peace, okay? So when you finally stop reacting to your job and start designing your career with intention, I guarantee you everything shifts. So in Career Shakeup in the book, it'll guide you through the 5 essential steps: understanding your career's role in your life, designing your path and story, learning the tools to actually use and which ones to ignore, because I know there's so much information out there. You know, I work with those who are seeking to be in manager, director to C-level positions. So, you know, there's a certain way, like when you're at that level and you're right there to that 6-figure salary, or you're already at the 6-figure salary or multiple 6 figures, right? There is other methods that you can employ without just relying totally on the online job application. So we give you some of that insight in the book, so you can actually start making changes right away and get clear on your worth, right? You need to master how you show up for interviews like the leader that you are. So whether you want to move into a new industry or just find something that's more aligned, the work starts with you. If you enjoyed this video and want to know more, please like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.